Hello, Karen.
Hello,
Thank you so
Carmen.
much for being here. And welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Awakened Leadership. My name is Carmen Balacianu, and I'm here to bring you insights to challenge your thinking and stretch your perspectives on leadership. And in this conversation today, we will dive deeper into leading with purpose. So get ready for an inspiring discussion with our amazing guest who is here today with us, Karen Fuchs Haseli. We are honored to have you, truly honored, dear Karin. You are a leader in business and ethics and sustainability. You are a true awakened leader because for the last 30 years, you have been helping businesses align with nature's principles to create more ethical and sustainable economies. And you are also the co founder and CEO of Sunheart Switzerland, where together with your team has recently, well, not so recently, 2 years ago, launched Switzerland's first seal of approval for business ethics. Your work is so powerful, and it reminds us all that businesses can be both profitable and principled. I'm very excited for our conversation. Thank you for being here and welcome, Karin. How are you feeling today?
So thank you, dear Carmen, for inviting me. And I'm absolutely happy to be with you here and sharing a little about what we are doing and how leadership could be in future. I feel great, a little nervous, as always, when we can have such a talk, but I enjoy it.
I'm so excited that you are here. And I also hope that everybody managed to connect today and
Yes.
they are here with us. And so if you are here, please already type a comment in the chat so we know you here. And you can already prepare a question for Karin that we can address at a later time. So Karin, you have been on this journey of awakened leadership for many years now, and you inspired so many in this process. But there was a moment when you were also maybe looking for your purpose, and maybe a moment when you were trying to create some impact in the world. What has been your leadership journey in discovering or rediscovering your purpose?
Well, it all started when I was working at the bank. I made an apprenticeship. Um, yeah, 40 years ago, more, 45 years ago soon, and was quite happy working at the bank later. And then all of a sudden, I asked myself, what is if I would die? If I had cancer or something like that, and I would die in young years, I would not have even had the chance to live my life to the fullest. And I wanted to be young and happy and have fun and parties and etc. But that bothered me. And so I went on a journey. I wanted to know how life works. And interestingly, I started with what happens after death. That was one of the first questions. And that brought me to other issues. And I went through different cultures and philosophers and religions to find out what they say, and also what science, the modern natural science, says about the sense of life and who we are, etc. And for me, the most important moment was when I realized that in all these different cultures and religions, and even in science, they meet each other on certain points. They do not contradict. And then I started to study the hermetical rules, what I call the principles of life. And that was for me a culmination of how life works. And I started to understand better how we should have live our life and how we could maybe run our businesses. And when I realized that that was the point where I felt very strongly, I think that's what I have to do in my life. I need to learn more about life on the one hand, and then to share it in the business world so that we can hopefully run our businesses and companies in accordance with these simple principles of life. And I was absolutely sure already at the beginning that when we do so, we automatically become more successful, but not in the sense to just have a lot of profit, but in the sense to really make a difference in the world. I sometimes compare the purpose that we have with, let's say, the purpose that our cells in our body have. Because there are millions and millions of cells in my body, but every single one has an own purpose. And the cell of the skin has another purpose than the cell of my heart. But they do a great job because they have their talents and they know how to do their job. And we, in a way, are like cells in the body of our planet Earth. And we are connected with everything. And we also have a reason that we are here. We also have a purpose. It's not always easy to find the own purpose, but we have talents and we have certain things that when we do them, that brings us into this flow of energy. And when we just feel now there is no time and no space, I'm just what I am, and I'm in my one with my purpose and do the right thing. And so
Yeah,
I felt when I realized that I have to learn a lot on the one hand, but I also have to give a lot. And
it was so beautiful when you said it was reflection upon my death that brought me on the path of knowing, of self-discovering and more awareness about life. Many times we run away from anything that has to do with death, but there's so much knowledge and so much imminence in that fact, that recognizing that we are going in this direction, we are all going towards death. But what is it if we start living before we die? What if we start having a big impact, not only in our own life, but in the life of others? Like you said, success doesn't mean having a lot of financial gains for myself, but it's like that cell in the organism to create that connection and the purpose for the whole organism to
exactly.
be successful, to live and thrive. So it's so wonderfully put the way you described it.
That's so
I
interesting, if I may add that, because all the cells of my body have one common purpose. They want to have this body healthy and thriving. And if we would think like that as cells in this body of Mother Earth, that we just have this common goal to keep this planet Earth healthy and thriving, that every single part of life which is connected feels well and great, what life would we have together?
I love that. I just got goosebumps when you said that. How would life look like if we all thought
Yeah.
like cells? How we can help each other out to create a thriving system? How do we make it good for everyone? Because if the body dies, we all
Yeah.
die, right? And I think we are seeing this more and more in the environment today, that we as cells of this system, we are not doing such a good job at maintaining the
Yeah.
body. We're seeing this quite happening quite a lot. But I would love to take you back onto
Mhm.
leadership and systems in businesses. How can a CEO like yourself and many others maybe who are watching us right now create that system, that driving system in their culture, in their business space? What would be an advice, or what solutions have you discovered so far and you'd like to share
I
with me?
think most important is, again, the purpose. First, to find the own purpose. I think when we give so much energy to lead a company or a team, then we need to have this sense and this purpose why we do that. So when we do our job with joy and happiness and sense what we are doing, because we know our company is doing something good, that's most important for us first. And when we feel good, we can do good to others. And when we have this in mind, that also our employees and the other people around us, they also have their purpose. And when I hire somebody, I want to know what their purpose is. I want to know whether this purpose and we call it sometimes the big fives that they have, what they want to achieve in life, if that fits to what we can offer with our company. Because it's most beautiful when we can help others to find and live their purpose in the environment of our company. And when we provide the space for people to do so, we will experience that they are happy, that they stay longer with us. There is less fluctuation. There is a higher quality of their work, less mistakes that they make. And all these things lead finally to more profit. That comes automatically, but I don't have to focus on that. I much more have to focus on how can I attract the right people with the right purpose that I can help them to live, with the right values that are aligned with the values I represent in my company or in my team. And when these things come together, you have great teams which are so successful, I'm absolutely sure. And we have to define success in a different way, because it's not only profit.
Yes, you said it so nicely. The profits, they come automatically, and that shouldn't be the goal that we have, that the money is the goal. And I hear you saying the person is the goal, the person's purpose and the alignment with the business itself. Once that is achieved, then things flow
Absolutely.
naturally.
Absolutely.
It
And
works. And I would love to ask you, because I know you're doing work with the laws of nature, and it kind of feels like we already started the conversation about the laws of nature. But can you tell us a little bit, what do you mean by doing business in accordance with the laws of nature and harmony, being in harmony, this principle of harmony? And can you give us a practical
example.
example so the audience can take it and apply it in their own
Yeah.
businesses?
Yes. First, nature works since millions of years according to these laws of nature. And nature is very successful. And only if we look at nature and have this natural humility to recognize how wise it works and to adapt it into our lives, we can learn from it and we can use it in our daily lives. Now, one example is, for example, the law or principle of cause and effect. Interestingly, all around the world, in all different cultures, you find this principle of life explained. Many cultures refer to it as the golden rule. And they have different stories how they try to educate the kids and the people in their country. But we know also as a farmer, for example, that we have first to sow before we can reap. In business, we often think it's different. We think we want to take a lot for ourselves, but are not really willing to give at the first step. And if only companies and leaders realize that you cannot, how is it called? Umkehren. You cannot turn around this law. It's always the same. We first have to give. Then we would ask ourselves, how can I give, for example, to my employees? How can I support them that they feel good and have the space to do that, bring forth their best self and do a great job? How can I serve, for example, nature with what I'm doing, with my service of the company, with our products? How can I serve the community? Whatever it is, all the stakeholders. When I have that in my mind, it's a natural follow-up that life provides me with everything that I need. I don't have to take care of taking, because that's what life makes itself. I have much more to think about. How can I provide for others what they need?
That's a brilliant insight to take a moment and take it in, to just say first, what can I give before I take? Somehow our education system and our social system nowadays, it's so much umgekehrt, like you said, it's turned around. We are talking about how can I take faster, how can I take more, how can I do it easier, but not putting the effort into planting that garden before I pick up the vegetables. It's just taking. And so I hear that for a leader to lead that awakened leadership style, it's to take that moment to really go within and learn for themselves and connect with what can I give first, and how that giving can help others grow, so those benefits flow back to me in a natural way.
Absolutely.
So it's so beautiful. And I'm wondering if you were to give a particular, a particular example of something you saw in business. So because we talk now in general, but a place in your business or in other people's businesses, you work with so many companies.
Maybe
or I have an idea. What about one of the companies that is using now your seal of approval?
Yes, since more than a year, we are on a journey. We call that to business ethics with some companies from different areas, different branches, and we see that the culture changes when we are on this journey. And I maybe have to say that when we work with companies on this culture, on this ethical culture, we don't do that just with a workshop or two and then they say they are ethical. We make lifelong contracts with them. So because they know exactly that to bring forth the most beautiful self, ourself, and also that the employees can have the space to bring forth their most beautiful self, that needs time. And it's just one part to learn theoretically how life works, and the other part is to have the space to practice it. And what we are doing now in this year is we start with a company and try to find out where do they stand, what are their values, their vision, their mission, how do they contribute to the good in the world. And then we start explaining how nature works, these rules, principles of life, the laws of nature. And then we go into certain areas of their company. That could be, for example, the human resources department. And then we ask ourselves, could we do something better in this area when we want to run our business in accordance with this principle of lives? And then we maybe find out, okay, we have so much difficulties in finding the right people for our jobs. We don't find them. Then we help them to strengthen the own culture and the own morals and the values and the purpose so strongly that they attract more the right people. And one thing that came to our consciousness lately was that we got an email from a lady who registered for the newsletter. And then I asked her how she found us exactly. Mm-hmm. And then she said she would follow us since quite the time, and now she has a new job, and this job is with a company that has the seal of approval, and that showed us this attraction works now and start working because there are employees that are looking for companies, and more, I would say, that have values and ethical values mainly, have a good purpose, do something good for the world. They want to work with these companies. And when we experience things like that, we realize now it's this radiance of the company, this radiation that they spread out starts to work because it's all energy. We sometimes think that we can change a lot on the physical realm, but it always starts in our consciousness and on the energetical level. And so it's sometimes hard to exactly explain what the benefit is for companies when they work with us, because so much happens on this inner level. But then all of a sudden we see, oh, there are new people attracted, or people start to act in conflict situations maybe in another way. They communicate in a different way together. Because one of the really main things that we try to implant in a way in companies is forget to act egocentrically, start to do everything you do to the best of the whole. And when it's so simple, but when people start to think like that, everything changes.
Thank you so much. This is so inspiring, and it's so beautiful to see how you have been able to implement this in the world. I know you've had your journey and knocking on many doors where you encountered resistance towards this. And I believe you found your group of people that is growing more and more, that are starting to see the world from this perspective. And I also feel the time is right. The time is now to make these changes. So for all the companies or for all the people who are feeling inspired right now, to start to connect with the laws of nature, to start to connect with themselves first, to do the cleanup work internally, even though sometimes it feels harder, right? It's hard to do that cleanup work. We want the instant gratification, but it doesn't come forever. So it's good to come back to reality sometimes. So I want to take a moment to see if our audience has a question for you. I see some people are here, and thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Please write a question in the chat. And in the meantime, I want to ask you, Karin, what is the legacy that you are hoping to leave behind? Because we started with that, interestingly. In our conversation, you were pondering upon what happens when I'm not here anymore. What's my purpose? Why have I come on this planet Earth? So what is it that you would love to leave behind as a legacy?
What I would like and love to leave is an economy a worldwide economy with happy, thriving, and healthy people that serve the greater good with everything that they do. I'm absolutely sure that when we, like the cells in our body, when we run our businesses with purpose and with ethical values, everything will fall into place. And we support each other even when we have certain challenges. Why not working together? Without fear. I think fear is one of the most difficult energies that we have in our families, in the companies, in our society, on planet Earth. We have to change from this fear level to the love level, let's say, because love always binds together, always is searching for unity. And when the work that we are doing today leads to a community of people and nations that jump into this level of love and do things out of love for the greater good, then I would be very, very grateful and proud that I was allowed to be on this journey. It's a gift to have embodiment in this time.
Yeah, it is. It is a gift, and you are a gift to us with your
Same to you.
vision and the work you are doing in the world. Thank you. And if you were gonna give an advice to one leader who's listening right now and is saying, "Yes, I agree with you, Karin. I really agree. Yet I'm not able to put this into practice in my work." So maybe this leader is doing a lot of self work, we hope, and then they are saying, I really want to work and put this in practice in my company. How do I turn that fear around and start leading with love? How do I start giving before I take? What would you say? One practical advice, something easy, a starting place, a starting to start
Because
going
we
on
could
this journey.
talk a day about
Yes,
that.
because I was just realizing we are starting another
Yes, yes.
conversation.
But as a starting
Yeah.
point, I would say start in the morning with gratitude. Be grateful for everything that you have. And just imagine if you would wake up the next morning and you have only the things you have been grateful the day before. That gives us an idea how much we have to be grateful for. And with the gratitude opens the flow of love for us. As soon as you are grateful for something, the heart opens up. And give yourself the chance to be often in this flow of love. So you can train that. Even if you have a tiny little flower in front of you, you can let this love flow to this flower. And that brings yourself back into this flow of love. And then it's like a ripple effect. You look into the eyes of another person, maybe your employee, you will see something else than before. And you are reminded to, on this gratitude you can have, that he serves you in your company. And so it's really like a ripple effect. Try to practice that. Start with gratitude, I would say.
Start with gratitude. What a wonderful moment to also wrap up our conversation. And a takeaway, start with gratitude, to see the value in others, to love them like you love that flower. And I almost hear to love yourself,
Absolutely.
because as we are mirrors to each other, and when we are looking at others, to give and receive that love and kindness and
Yeah,
generosity from the others, we multiply. The effect is multiplied.
absolutely.
So wonderful. Thank you so much, Karin. This has been amazing. I'm so
I'm
grateful.
grateful,
And
Carmen, that you invited me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your journey and your wisdom and your heart with us today. And awakening leadership, as you also mentioned, it's not a destination, it's a journey. We start on it and we add and we grow and develop with time. So, for the people who are watching us, know you are on a journey. It's a lifetime journey. And thank you for being with us today. And I would love to leave you with a question and to see what is it that you can be grateful for in this very moment. If you close your eyes and you think of something that you are so grateful for being here in this moment today, just please do that. Take a moment, feel the love, and share the love with others. Thank you very much, everyone. And we'll continue, for sure, we'll continue these conversations. Please let us know what topics from Awakened Leadership you're interested to hear next. And we look forward to see you again. Thank you.
Bye bye.